What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. Appreciate you guys checking us out again and staying with us in this May month. Yeah, it's good times, man. Like I said, I think in the last podcast, this year's kind of just skating by, man. It's just kind of got to sit down and think about it, and try to enjoy some of it. You know what I mean? And I think that this podcast is all about that. Today we have my good friend Rob, who I just met. But I'll get into that in a minute. But first, I want you guys to go check out my dude Mark at TexasPerformanceMC.com and on Instagram. He's a well-rounded mechanic, one of the best here in Texas, that handles all your performance needs on your HD models. So check him out. Go see him, Cedar Park, Texas, and let him bless your motorcycle. I also want to thank John Jessup at Dream Rides. All you NorCal guys are so lucky to have such a great dude up there, just providing you with everything you need, from bike sales to full service builds, dyno tuning in-house. John Jessup's the man. I mean, he's just built a really great business up there to kind of cater to, all the HD guys up there in that area. So also you can go to his website, teamdreamrides.com, which he sells a lot of cool shit on there that I know you guys want to buy for your bike. And if you're looking for a good deal on something, use Fast Life code. Get 10% off whatever you buy off that website. So check it out and check out John Jessup. I also want to thank Big Bear Performance, Kevin. I actually just got off the phone with him 3 days ago. So not just, but I did get off the phone with him 3 days ago. And he was telling me about they got a new shipment of all those Nix 22 drop-in cartridge kits in stock. So, Olin's is not a USA-based company, so that shit has to come over the pond. So he has a bunch in stock ready to go. I think he said he has 20 sets, and this was a couple days ago, so he could be low now. But give him a call, 909-478-7788. Get that front suspension dialed in. He's going to be able to let you know what it's going to do, what to expect. Maybe even give you some other options. Maybe you want to go full inverted front end. Maybe you just, I don't know. Let him talk to you. Let him tell you about it. He's going to do a great job, way better than me, because I don't know about it yet. I will. I'm going to be an expert by the end of this year, I guarantee you. But for now, go talk to Kevin, BigBearPerformance.com, as well as 909-478-7788. Give him a call. I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake, my dude. Paint Huffer. I use that shit on everything. It's kind of like Frank's Red Hot Sauce, but for motorcycles. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, dude, I literally go through so much of Paint Huffer Metal Flake on a monthly basis at my shop. And now a lot more these days, I use more of his pearls than anything. So, Paint Huffer has a lot of shit to offer all you painters out there. So hopefully you're taking a look into the brand. You can go to painthuffer.com and see all the flakes and all the products that they sell, as well as Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram, and see a lot of very talented artists. So do yourself a favor and give it all a check and look, whatever. I don't know. I'm fucking up. It's Sunday. You're probably going to hear this on Monday, but it's Sunday for me, Mother's Day. Yeah, man. I met Rob, man. He came to our campout. He was on his way to the EDR El Diablo run from Long Island, New York. So he showed up at the campground super late, came over, meet me, or, introduced himself to me. And I was just like, fuck, man, like, I got to have you on the podcast. This is a story I want to hear. This is a road tripping episode for sure right here. So, yeah, he hit me up on his way back through Dallas, and he stopped by and went to the bike night, and we shut it down and got pretty toasty. And it's really bad weather here the last couple of days here in DFW and Texas in general. So he kind of got stuck here for, half a day the next day, and we just hung out. We went to a cafe and caught up, and I really enjoyed getting to know Rob outside of even doing this podcast. So I'm really looking forward to going up to the New York area one day soon. So anyway, you guys check this out. I really hope you enjoy it, because I enjoyed talking to him.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
All right, man, we're doing it. You nervous?
Yeah, I guess here we go. Jump into the deep end, man.
Rob, right?
Yep. Rob Boyce.
New York.
Long Island, New York.
Nice. So, we got to go way back now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's start with like you and motorcycles. Like, where did that start? Especially, I'm interested from the aspect of a New Yorker. You know what I mean?
So yeah, it started off, I guess, as a kid, man, riding friends' dirt bikes and stuff like that.
I got dirt up there?
No, not really. That on Long Island, that would be on the street.
Okay.
And little dirt lots,
Yeah.
before they started really developing a lot of houses and stuff. But my family's had a place upstate forever too. So I got a lot of friends upstate New York and riding their quads and stuff like that.
And the terrain's real mountainous.
That's all mountains. Yeah, that's in the Catskill Mountains. And yeah, it just went from there. That first actual bike I ever had, I don't know, maybe I was like 12 or 13 years old. I bought a Honda Express, a 1977 Honda Express moped for $25, and I pushed it home about 2 miles with 2 flats. I never bought a running bike until I was 20 years old.
Damn.
I bought a 1999 CBR 900 RR. That was the first running bike I ever bought when I was 20.
Shit.
All my other bikes from before that, I pushed home. No fucking truck, no trailer. I pushed them all home, man.
Then that 900 RR, that's like that old Wink 1100 shit from like the Rough Riders and stuff.
Yeah, that was the shit. That was the Rough Rider bike back then.
Yeah. I think there was the 1100. Was it Kawasaki had 1100 or was it Suzuki?
I think Ninja had the 1100 Ninja. I don't know, man.
Something like that.
I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, so basically you just kind of, you always grew up in the bikes and stuff like that. So when did Harleys take hold?
So I used to ride. I don't know if you've heard of the band Brand New. I used to ride with the bass player Garrett, and him and his twin brother had these 2 crazy ass Buells, man. Those old tube frame Buells with Sportster engines in them.
Yeah.
And I rode one of them, and I was like, dude, I got to get a fucking Harley. And I just got drunk one night and went on eBay, and I just started ordering chopper parts. So the first Harley I technically had, I built. It was a rigid frame with a 113 in it. And yeah, I never actually owned a Harley for a few years after that. It was all customs.
The chopper thing's always been pretty big up there, hasn't it?
Definitely.
With Indian Larry's influence, and then you had, up in Boston, you had Perowitz, like we were talking about earlier, and stuff like that. So. Yep.
Yeah, definitely a big thing. And actually, one of the guys that worked for Dave for a while, Wayne Lofton, I'm friends with his brother. They're from my hometown. So, yeah, there was always like guys around there always building crazy choppers and shit around my hometown and hot rods and, So I was always into cars too, muscle cars. I still got a 69 Camaro.
Nice.
Yeah, just that motorcycle hot rod scene.
How does the dynamic work when you have a passion for bikes and cars? Like, how do you divvy that up? Because I don't know.
To be honest, bikes have taken my life over since like my mid 20s. But I've had that Camaro as my first car. I bought it when I was 16.
Damn.
But I don't know, man. I love them both, but bikes have completely taken over.
This is the car. I mean, I know the car culture does, but it's like it also has a like people-based thing, like how motorcycles is a community, and so cars is the same thing. Like especially like a Camaro community, or
it's not as tight or as cool as the bike scene.
Yeah,
the bike scene's like it's really where I fit in more. I don't know, man. I mean, I got car friends. A lot of my friends are car friends. But, the bike scene's way tighter, way cooler, way more adventurous. More my style,
You think a lot of people just build those cars and they don't even ride them or drive them? Or
yeah, definitely a chunk of them.
It's something to own and say that you have it, not necessarily something to make experiences in and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A lot of the car guys are more like, especially I see this in the Long Island area. They're more like it's almost like a fashion statement, man.
Yeah.
The bikes it's more of a gritty, real scene. You know, so I kind of fit in more with the bikes.
Is it in Long? I've never been to New York. Is the Long Island area? Is it pretty predominantly mass transit up there, or is it something you can drive to work in or ride to work pretty easily?
Yeah, Long Island is more like a big spread out suburb. So you're driving. Although there is mass transit, but you're driving.
See, I want to ride up there so fucking bad, but it's like, does it make sense to like ride up there and maybe go through Manhattan and all that shit? Is there a point in time that you can ride through all that stuff and kind of take it in on bike? Or
it's the worst. I tell people it's the worst riding in the country. It sucks, man.
Because there's so much fucking history there, though, man.
It's cool to visit, but the riding, man, because it's just like a big, city area with a shitload of traffic.
That's so the riding like sucks. A part of the day or part like a time when commuting around, like even if it's in the middle of the night. I mean, the city never sleeps, right? Isn't that the fucking slogan?
Right.
So it's like, is there a point in time where you can kind of scoot around town and maybe soak in the whole island?
The island's a little different, so you could head to the east end of the island, on a weekend or like middle of the day when there's no traffic. But the city, definitely at night. Like whenever I ride the city, I like to do it at night.
I just feel like it'd be fucking so cool just to, it's the same feeling whenever I first went to LA. Like you see so much shit from like pop culture and movies and shit that it's like, oh shit, that's where that movie took place. Or this is where Spider-Man was at, all this crazy shit. And it's just like being on your bike at that time. I feel like it would be so much more, rewarding, as a motorcycle traveler in a sense. Like, oh fuck, man, I rode my bike through Manhattan. Even though obviously you don't want to do it during rush hour, but it just something nostalgic. I mean, I wouldn't say that it wouldn't be the same thing if we went there and then took the train in or wherever the case may be. Like, it'd still be cool to see it, but it's different on the bike. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Any travel is different on the bike. It's always better on the bike. But dude, if you ever want to go up there, Indian Larry or whatever, man, stay at my place. But if you want to really do some riding, come to my place in the Catskills, dude. The Catskill Mountains is killer riding. And you shoot up into the Adirondack Mountains. It's awesome riding. Awesome.
Nice. I want to, like, my mental vision is like all those like backcountry roads up there is all like those bridges that have that roofs over them and shit.
Yeah, man.
Is it all kind of like that old school vibe kind of thing?
Definitely. And you get a lot more of that the further up northeast you go.
Yeah.
Like in that Laconia area in the White Mountains up in Vermont, New Hampshire, you get a lot of that like old wooden covered bridges, and there's some of that upstate New York. But
what about like the Buffalo, like Niagara area in New York? Is it like California where you got SoCal and NorCal and it's like two different worlds for the most part, or is it pretty New York throughout the whole state?
No, dude. New York is definitely. I would divide New York up into like 3 different categories. You got upstate New York, then you got like New York City, and then Long Island, and they're all 3 of them are like totally different worlds. But as for the Buffalo area, Niagara area, honestly, I've never been. I'm actually riding up there with a couple of friends. I think in about a month from now, going to Niagara Falls.
Nice.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
I believe that's Memorial Day weekend. We're doing that.
That's cool. Yeah. So the Long Island part, that's like is that what Coney Island and Brooklyn and everything's on, or?
No, I would consider like Coney Island and that area. I would consider that all New York City area.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm a map freak. You know what I mean? So I'll fucking take a bath. I know it's gay, but I'll take a bath and just sit there and look at maps and roads and cities and be like, oh shit, that's where so-and-so was.
Yeah. So like physically, if you're looking at the map, like Brooklyn.
Oh, you're deep. Like, yeah, you're way off the thing. Like you're headed towards the Hamptons and shit, huh?
Yeah. I'm in a town now called Huntington. It's on the North Shore, about halfway down the island.
That's cool.
But
that island, I mean, is it pretty, I mean, is there a lot of culture and history there as far as like everything still?
Definitely,
it just gets so complex once you get to Queens and everything.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of history there. There's some cool stuff, but man, there's just, it's so populated now, Have you ever ridden up to like the Cape Cod and all that shit? Like, was it Massachusetts or whatever? Nah, never. I've ridden up to Boston a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And I'm actually headed there on my way home, going Saturday to up there to Wild Rabbit Show. Yeah. See my girls, Babes, Bikes, and Beards. Check them out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I want to do that. There's just so much, man. Like, not that I wouldn't plan to do the trip multiple times, but I would feel like like very rushed to try to soak it all up in that first event or whatever you would call it. So, or that first time going, that, you know, I feel like I'd have a lot of anxiety. Just, oh, dude, I got to see this too. I got to go see the fucking Statue of Liberty or whatever the fuck it is, you know?
Yeah.
Like all the different things. And then you got like Pennsylvania, not too far away. You know, what's the main city in or not Pennsylvania, but fucking Rockies Town. What's that thing called? What's that city called? Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
So,
I've
like,
never been to Philly.
For real?
No, I've never been there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind check. It's just so many cities up there that like I would want to ride through and see, you know, shit in it. You know what I mean? Even if nothing that like I'm trying to get Instagram pictures. It's just like when I talk about like going to see the Golden Gate Bridge or doing, you know, the things that I've done. Like I want those conversations and those experiences to be able to articulate it or in a conversation with other bikers or whatever, you know,
right?
Of what it was when I first saw that place on my bike, as opposed to, you know, I flew into New York, saw everything from the sky,
yeah,
went to the top of the, you know, this tower and fucking saw, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different experience. So
I think to do the whole Northeast, you'd have to do it in a couple trips, you know. Because like the first time I went cross country on a bike, I said that. I'm like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then you just realize, you just go, fuck it, man. I guess it's a good excuse to do this again.
Yeah.
And do all the things you haven't seen, you know?
That's a good point.
You know, so I guess you got to do it a couple times.
So how many like real big trips have you done across country, or like, let's just say 1,000+ mile trips?
1,000+ mile trips, a lot. An actual coast to coast cross country, this is my second one.
For real?
But I've done like what I call half country, or like, you know, New York to Key West. I've done that a shitload of times.
For real?
A lot of trips, man.
Where did the desire to ride that like that come from? Like you know, you said you built your chopper. Did you do a lot of that stuff on the chopper?
Oh yeah, dude. I did a lot of it on rigid choppers. I did a chunk of it on a Springer Softail. A lot of it on this FXR. I mean, shit, this FXR's got a lot of miles on it now. This is the 4th engine I've put in it.
Damn.
I mean, I've ridden the fuck out of this thing.
Nice.
I guess wanderlust, man. I always think like the grass is greener on the other side, you know. Yeah. And I just love traveling.
I feel like I'm asking you a question that I don't even know the answer to myself, but like, you know, wanderlust is like, to me, the easiest way to get out of that conversation. I say it all the time. Oh man, I just want to do it, but like,
yeah,
there is something super surreal about just being like, you did this trip that we're going to get into shortly solo for the most part, but do you ever feel like, do you ever do these trips with people or at all?
Dude, a lot of them are solo or with girlfriends on the back of the bike.
How's that, dude? I'd hate that.
It depends. Some of the girls, man, really made the trip. It was awesome. And then some of them, it was like, fuck, man, I should have done this alone, man.
Yeah.
You know? But you know, it depends on the girl.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
So how old were you when you first started doing the trips?
My first big solo trip was 18 days, and I was 25 years old.
Damn.
I'm 35 now.
So
and
10 years of this
every year since then, I do a big trip. And then I'll do shitloads of little ones throughout the year.
You know what's crazy is like this trip that I'm about to do in June for Cali is the longest trip I've ever done, and it's only 14 days.
No kidding.
I've never done more than like 11 days
No
anywhere.
shit. Oh man.
But it's also like I've never, like, we're in the middle of the country, so it's technically not cross country anywhere we go.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's like hell, even if we go to Canada, it's like we're almost in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
Like north and south and east and west. So it's you know, you can go to Cali, spend, you know, 5 days there or 10 days there.
Yeah.
And have a 2-day there, 2-day back, and still be, you know, there pretty quick. So
yeah.
But yeah, if you're going, like, if you're on one side of the country and you're going to the other side, that's definitely going to be at least a 2-week trip to be able to absorb it, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. My the first cross country trip I did was that was 30 days, man. We went for exactly 30 days.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and that's really what you need to really enjoy
You like
it and
sell
suck
drugs
it in.
or something? How do you get all this money to do that shit?
I wish I did, man.
I know. Try to get that plug.
Yeah, I'm just not that smart. No, dude, so for a living, I'm a locomotive mechanic.
What?
And
Nice.
I work for a really good railroad. They pay awesome, and they give me a lot of time off. So
Nice.
so I get the time off. I'm like a school teacher, man. Altogether, I get about 2 months a year.
Damn.
And I use half of that for riding bikes around the country. and I use the other half during hunting season. I try and live in the woods as much as I can.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is that when you go back upstate and
and some traveling too? I'm going to Africa in October.
seriously?
Yeah, and the following year I'll be in Colorado.
Nice.
So I go wherever, man.
What kind of hunting do you like? Is it just rifle hunting or
Anything with a heartbeat. No, I do bow hunting too.
for real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe Rogan get you into that?
No, dude, I grew up doing that, man.
okay.
My dad's been taking me in the woods. The first year he took me in the woods, I was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been going ever since, up in the Catskills.
Yeah, it's weird for me because I grew up in the city, like pretty much where you're at now. Mm-hmm. So I've always been around this, and I've had like this desire to feel that kind of manliness of being in the wild shit. You know what I mean? So it's
Dude,
like
it's good for your soul.
Dude, 2 years ago was the first time I ever camped. Ever.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
so it's just I didn't get to do that when I was growing up. I mean, I don't have to say we grew up poor because I mean I fucking had Jordans and shit, right? So we weren't that poor, but there was just it was a really working class household, so we didn't really take vacations and shit. We didn't do stuff like if we took a vacation, we went to fucking Galveston from Dallas, which is like the closest beach,
Right,
but it's also
right.
like the worst beach in the fucking country. So, you might get AIDS. So. But yeah, so this is weird thing of, I think that it all kind of, for me, the lack of doing this as a kid or a young 20-year-old something person has compiled into like this desire to travel and live a little bit more off the land kind of an idea. I'm still, I'm not making my own food out of animals and shit, cutting it out of animals and stuff, but
Yeah.
just getting disconnected from this very easy world we live in, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And trying hard shit like riding across country or, I've slept in fucking truck stops, which I know is not as chopper as sleeping on a park bench, but it's pretty fucking chopper to me. So
Yeah, no, that's good enough, man. I'm kind of, I'm not going to come across as like, I don't really try and be one of the cool kids. I never pushed a chopper into a fucking motel room or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's not as Hollywood as people think when you're sleeping in a fucking rest area somewhere.
You know what's cool though? Me and you, shit, we've already done like 12 podcasts since you've been here in Dallas. But basically, after really getting to know you here, and just the talks, it's like you're the consistent biker. You're the guy that does this shit all the time. This is part of your life, like you said.
Yeah.
You take 1 month a year for bike trips and 1 month for your other hobby, which is hunting.
Yeah.
But you're still giving this stuff like your time and attention, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like we've had long talks about, we'll get into later, but you see all these people doing all these staged kind of like biker-esque things to make themselves come off as like hardcore.
Yeah.
But really the hardcore thing to do is just fucking ride your bike cross country.
Yeah, man. And I only got Instagram less than a year ago. Before that it was just.
Who were you before that?
Yeah, I guess I was only born about 8 months ago. Yeah, it's
So when did the hunting come into play? Like when did you get into all that shit?
Dude, forever. My dad literally has been taking me upstate New York for the deer season since I'm 4.
Yeah.
And then up in New York, you could get your own license when you're 12. So that's when I killed my first deer. And I've just been doing that my whole life, man.
That's cool.
I only missed a few hunting seasons. Like in my early 20s, I just lost the desire for it. Once I found motorcycles.
Yeah.
Once I got heavily into that. Maybe 2 or 3 years.
Is the bow hunting stuff as hard as we all hear about from Joe Rogan?
Yeah, bow hunting's pretty hard, man, and it just depends on how hard you want to challenge yourself too, man. Like,
Is there more satisfaction out of getting a kill from that other than
definitely,
a gun?
definitely. The bow hunting I started in my mid-20s, and I mean for years I didn't even kill anything with a gun.
For real?
Once I got into bow hunting, I got hooked, man, and it was like. It is hard. It's definitely a skill to pursue, man. It's a real sense of satisfaction when you can go out there with a bow and arrow and get it done.
Yeah, I always say, basically when the apocalypse happens, I'm just gonna be indebted to guys like you. But hey, dude, I'm good with maps, man. You need me. I can align us with the stars. So you do the hunting, I'll keep fucking staring at maps, okay?
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
No,
start practicing your camo paint jobs.
Yeah, there we
go.
That's crazy. But yeah, I don't, man, it's weird because sometimes I wish I had a hobby that was like off of the motorcycle path, you know, like completely left field of it, right?
Yeah.
But it's like everything I get into, and it's like something that can be associated with motorcycles. Like for a while, I got super into photography, right? Well, what am I taking pictures of? Fucking bikes, right?
Right.
So it's like I'd only get into things that I could still enjoy with bikes, like camping. Mm-hmm. You know, I would want to do that, to go hiking, but it's like I want to ride the bike there and then go hiking.
Yeah.
So, but that's something I've been trying to do with my kids too. Is I take them on a camping trip every year, and you know, this so that they can, you know, it might not mean anything to them now, but just like me when I didn't do it till I was 31 or 30. No, fuck, I was 34 my first time camping. So it was like, I think I might have camped once or twice in my whole life, but I don't remember it, you know?
Right.
But, you know, give them that chance to experience it. And if they want to chase back that feeling again or see what it's like, then they've, you know, actually got the experience. So
I don't think kids could ever appreciate things until they're older.
Yeah.
You know, like kids just don't appreciate shit, you know, until they're older.
My son is he's a very cautious kid. Like he's a kid that's like, if all y'all are jumping off the high board, he's like, all right, y'all have a good time. I'll watch you clap on, you know? He's not that risk taker.
Yeah.
But the first time I took him camping, like he had so much fun, and he's like, doesn't do bugs, doesn't do dirt, he's not that outdoorsy kid, but he really enjoyed it. Right. So
yeah, that
kind of made me want to keep doing it. And then with my daughter, I took her to a mountain out here, and we kind of hiked a mountain way out in West Texas, out there by where, you know, you came in. Mm-hmm. And she seemed to love it. You know, she did way better than I did because she's a soccer player and I'm a beer drinker. So it was a tough one for me. So
yeah, you did something cool. I saw a few months back on your Instagram. You did a little road trip with your daughter.
Yeah.
And I think that was really cool, man. I wish I had been able to do something like that as a kid, like just a crazy road trip like that.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to a friend has a shop here in Dallas called Daryl's Custom Cycles. He's an older guy, but he's like been one of the guys in this industry that's I've been cool with since I first got into it, you know, almost 15 years ago. And I was at his shop, and one summer I was picking up some like cables for a dyno that I was putting together, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I went and this dude's got money, right? So he's like, he went and bought a new motorhome that he takes his family like Disneyland or Disney World, whichever one's in Florida. Mm-hmm. And so they do it in the motorhome, and they go down there and they spend like 2 weeks of December every year, just the family. But he said he went up there with his youngest daughter. They road tripped up to like Illinois to get this trailer. And he said, I had so much fun with my daughter. And I was like, man, like I've been wanting to take my kids to California, but usually when I would be going to California, it'd be on a bike or it would be me and my wife, right?
Right.
And not that, to me, it was like if I went with her and my wife, then, you know, just two chicks battling for attention, right? I don't need that. Like going with my daughter, it was able to do the things I had to do. Like we had to do podcasts and drop off a bike and pick up one, but I was able to dedicate a lot of the time to showing her shit, like taking her to Venice Beach and through Malibu and all these places, and then San Francisco, like we rode the train into San Francisco and walked all over the place and saw, you know what I mean? So it was a way different experience doing that. But what I really wanted to try to distill in her is some type of wanderlust. Yeah. You know, because as her hitting 18 years old next year, like I want her to want to travel and not be like, fuck, man, like Lawton, Oklahoma is where it's at. Right, you know, like I want her to get this vibe that the world's bigger than it is. Because I think the first time I went to Cali was back when I used to build like I used to customize and kind of build motors in like the Nissans 240s and Skylines back in the early 2000s before I got into motorcycles. Like I was heavy into that, putting JDM motors in US cars. So a shop I worked at here, we would go out there with a U-Haul and we'd pick up front clips that were just shipped in to like Long Beach and shit. So we go out there with U-Haul, we pick up like 5 or 6 front clip 240s, Skyline front clips, and bring them back here and part them out or sell them or whatever the case may be. So that was my first time ever going to Cali, right? And then 10 years goes by before the next time I get to go. So it was like, I didn't have the money. I didn't, I was married, had kids, like I chased that dream that you're taught in high school first, instead of that dream of go experience life first and then do all that shit.
Right.
So I'm trying to teach her to, chase the experiences now, and it'll help you find the kind of mate, I guess is the right word, or husband or person you want to be with that really coincides with your personality after you've traveled and done things.
Right.
As opposed to like, oh, I went to high school with this guy and we're never going to know anything more than our town that we grew up in.
Yeah.
This is it.
I think because me and you kind of came up similar too, man. I started working at a truck shop and performance cars and stuff full time when I was 16 years old. And I think when you kind of come up like that, where you kind of just working all the time, like you look back on your life and you spent it mostly in garages and shit like that. I don't know, man. It's easy to just, like you said, get holed up into your own home little town. And
yeah, it is. And it's not to say that that's wrong or bad, because there's a part of me right now at this age that kind of desires that seclusion from the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the other rate, we were just talking about this at breakfast. It's like all that 10 years of doing that shit is what has enabled me to be able to do what I'm doing now.
To get to where, right, to the point you're at now, which is a good place in life, So
it's almost like nothing that took place is like bad. It's just that, in hindsight, you're looking at it like, man, I wish I would have got to experience this more.
Yep.
But it still doesn't mean that I wish I didn't experience what I did experience, Kind of confusing there, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good times.
It's a weird world, man. It's a weird world.
It's a weird world trying to figure, just even now, like, I know we're supposed to be talking about road trip and we'll get to that, but even now it's like you just trying to understand, like, do you have, like, when you think about taking trips, does any of it play into like where your mind is? You know what I mean? At certain points in life, or is everything you do pretty planned to where it's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, out of sight, out of mind?
No, nothing is really pre-planned. Like when I take a road trip, I'll write down, a bunch of destinations, some places that I want to see. Mm-hmm. Don't have any plan how or when I'm going to get there. And another thing I like to do is write down a list of like all the stand-up comedians that I'm fans of and bands that I'm fans of. And I'll just fucking sit there on the internet and see if anyone's going to be in a particular town around the time that I could be swinging through there. Yeah. And I'll see something like that on the road.
That's got to be cool to like, catch someone in out of town.
It is, man. It is.
I imagine you've built a nice amount of friends in the motorcycle community across country doing this, or has it always just been?
I would say compared to your average person, I guess I got a decent amount of friends in the motorcycle industry. But not really, because most of this traveling I did, I never really went to shows or anything like that. I never really gave a shit about that. All as I ever wanted to do, and still do, is I just want to ride my motorcycle, man. Yeah. Like, I just want to get out there and wrench and ride. That's it. I don't care who's watching. I don't care, I don't really care about what trend is cool at the time, or, that's really all I want to do. Just get out there and live it.
Yeah, that's another thing about, like, that's weird about all this stuff is, like, there are trends associated with all the bikes that we like, right?
Yeah, it's weird,
and so
man.
Sometimes it's like, man, like, damn, I just like performance baggers right now. Why has I got to be a trend?
You know what's funny? So the two running bikes I have right now is this FXR, and I got a 2009 Dyna Street Bob. But it's all it's got an inverted front end on it and fucking piggybacks, and it's all set up. But like the second you tell someone you got an FXR and a Dyna, like automatically they put you in a certain category. Yeah. And it's like, man, you don't even know me. Just, Yeah. I could ride a bike and,
Well, like what's wrong? Still. I mean, even if the trend is inspiring to you to want you to do it, then why is that bad? Like, why?
Well, that's why I got the Dyna. I was like, fuck it, man. I'm gonna build this bike. Let's see what it's about. And it is fun, but I got to be honest, man. FXR is where it's at. You want to get it done, man. Get it done on an FXR.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's a weird one because of, especially with social media, because everybody can kind of, troll everything. And it's like, oh, look at all these guys were on FXRs last year. Now they're doing performance baggers. It's like, man, like, to me, it's like, who cares? Like,
yeah.
like it's not like you buy one bike and that's the only bike you ever ride for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
Right. They come and go, man.
And if something becomes popular, why is that a bad thing that it becomes popular and you want to try it?
Right.
You know, how else is that thing going to, you know, it's almost like you're only allowed to join a bike movement if it's not popular. Right. It's like, well, why would I want to do that? There's no parts available, you know, nobody's doing it, so I can't make friends doing it.
Right.
It's like when it's popular, that means that you get this community behind it so that you can, like, you know, meet more people across the country that are like into performance bikes or into big wheels or whatever the trend of bike is that you're on. You can make friends in it. Mm-hmm. So there's something good about trends being.
It definitely is. Trends bring a lot of positive attention to the motorcycle world too. So I was in Laconia. I think it was 2 years ago. And that kid, Evan Favaro from Speakeasy Motors, right? Mm-hmm. Someone gave him shit or something for, you know, Orange County bikes are bullshit or something. But he said something that really rang true. It was...
it's probably me, but go ahead.
No. It was just some random stranger. Yeah. But he made a good point, man. Like, whether you hate it or like it, it still puts motorcycles and this world in the face of a lot of people that just, it wouldn't even be there, man. Yeah. It brings a lot to the motorcycle world, whether it's weird or fake or if you like it or not.
Yeah.
It helps us all. It really does.
You know, like the conversation we've been having quite a bit since you've been here.
Yep.
And you can really associate it, like the separation between the two, just like we've been talking about, which I know you listeners haven't been privy to yet. But your Orange County influence people and your West Coast choppers influence people. And your Indian Larry, like all these guys were a little bit more like the Indian Larrys and the Billy Lanes and the, you know, all those other, you know, Jesse Jameses, like they had more of that grit, grime, you know, real biker lifestyle attitude, or not even attitude, because all those guys were, you know, I've never heard nothing but great things about Indian Larry.
Yeah.
Super kind, you know, loving kind of guy. And then you have the more clean cut things that, you know, the Orange County choppers was kind of presenting. So where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like two different, like, marketable worlds to the motorcycle world. And obviously the more PC version was more popular amongst people that aren't into it.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. The more PC version, it just grabs your average idiot watching a TV, you know?
Yeah.
Some dude who just, you know, thinks motorcycles are cool and watches it for a half hour a week,
though, right?
You know?
That's still cool.
I think it is awesome, yeah. I mean, let's face it, man, it generates a lot more, it generates everything for the industry, I guess, like from, you know, people going to shows like Daytona and Laconia that really would not even be there, you know? You know, so I guess in that aspect, it's cool, but it also brings a fakeness to this industry too.
Yeah.
And God only knows, man, there's enough fake shit in this industry. Yeah. You know?
So let's get on this trip. So what was the plan for this trip? Like, where did the Diablo run come into play, or was it something you planned out last year? Or?
Dude, so I planned on doing this 2 years ago.
For real?
Okay.
And it's only 2 years. Every 2 years they do it, right?
Every 2 years, and I only learned that this year.
Lucky you.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, I went cross country on that street bob with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and our plan was to do El Diablo. But I was hell bent on coming across the north part of the country because I wanted to run the PCH from north to south, which we did, and it was awesome. But
so did you start in like Washington down, or did you stop in like Oregon?
No. When we came across into California, we started in Leggett, California, which is the drive-through tree park. Okay. Which is where 101 hits one. Yeah, we didn't go up into Oregon or Washington. But coming across the north part of the country was fucking hell, man. We hit such bad weather, and by the time we got into Southern California, we were like 2 days late. Like, we came into Southern California like Tuesday. You know, El Diablo's obviously over the weekend. So I never got to El Diablo, and we just kept on going on our road trip, you know? And I wanted to do it forever, man. When they first started it, all those Biltwell guys came out to the East Coast for a thing called the Gypsy Run.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was exactly 10 years ago.
I don't remember it, but I remember watching something about it. like a video or some shit on
of the
YouTube.
Gypsy Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cool little thing. No vendors or BS. It's just a big old camp out with a bunch of destinations that you ride to in the Northeast. It's fucking cool, man. It's just old school motorcycling, just the way it should be, you know? And so those guys came out 10 years ago for that.
Did you go on that event too?
I was on that first bike that I built. It was a rigid chopper with green flames and a fucking twist clutch so they came out and they told me about the El Diablo run. I was like, this is fucking awesome, dude. I want to get down there, and I never did, man. And I just always wanted to. So
that's a long haul though. I mean, you're looking what, 3,000 miles?
Yeah, one way
to get there.
Yeah.
And this year I heard that they didn't do two parts. They only did the one part of the like supposedly there was like 2 areas they went to in Mexico before.
Yeah, I don't know the details on it, but someone was saying that they kind of just make it a free for all. Like, hey, get here.
What was the persuasion to get you to ride the FXR over the Dyna on this trip?
Well, for one, man, when you're on the road, that FXR is just so much better on the road, man. It bucks the wind better, and just it's better.
So did you know, like right off the bat, like you wanted to do this run on the FXR instead of the Dyna?
Yeah. I don't know what it is either, man. From when I got that FXR, I said I'm gonna ride this thing to Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't know what. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. Yeah, that was it, man. I figured I wanted to ride something that I had more of a hand in building, you know? That Dyna just don't do it for me, man. I think I'm going to sell it this year, honestly.
For real? Get you a performance bagger?
No. I don't know, man. I had a Road King. I sold that. It's not my thing. I think I want to build either a twin cam or Milwaukee 8 FXR.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I love FXRs, man.
Yeah, they really have a way of speaking to the soul.
Oh yeah, man.
Live life, love FXR.
If you ever hear anyone say, "Oh, I had an FXR and I sold it," dude, everyone regrets it.
That or there are those people that do the trend thing.
Yeah,
but they never quite like I've said before. You have to do things on these bikes to get the experiences, to have the connection to it. If you just buy it and you take pictures of it at your local, coffee shop for the gram and not doing things that are, going to really like ingrain you into what this experience of having this bike is, and you're never going to be connected to it,
No. And that first big solo trip I did was on that FXR. So I guess cool. I don't know, man. I guess that's like my first true love,
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I just love that bike, man.
Yeah, they are fucking good at getting people to love them. So this trip, like did you find any things like you're talking about with like the comedians or bands along the way that you wanted to see, or was it kind of like out of sight, out of mind this time?
On this trip, it was out of sight, out of mind. I did ride past where the hell was I? Somewhere, I think in Arizona or New Mexico, Ron White concert.
Nice.
And I should have stopped for that, but I like I was telling you, I'd like to swing through Nashville or Memphis, and if I swing through Nashville, I'll definitely go to a show at the Opry. And I'm sure there'll be a concert or something, but that was kind of out of sight, out of mind on this trip.
What was your first day? Like, where'd you head to and go check out?
My first day was I rode into Pennsylvania to see a friend of mine, who I missed. So whatever. I just had fucking lunch alone, and then I just crashed somewhere in Western Pennsylvania. The second day was hell, dude. I hit hail twice coming through West Virginia.
Damn.
Coming through 2 mountain passes, man. It fucking sucked.
And that's the Appalachians right there, right? All through there.
I think that would be considered that. Yeah.
That's all that fucking moonshiner country shit.
Oh yeah, dude. Definitely.
Did I hear all these stories about that West Virginia, the hills and shit, like where it's like, you ever see that Outsiders TV show that was on for a while, where it's like those people lived in the mountains and then they'd come down to the town below to get supplies every once in a while, but they had their own law and land up there in the mountains? No. That's kind of what reminds me of like what I would think it'd be, because I've only been to like the border, like Bristol, Tennessee border area right there. Yeah. That's all I've been in the West Virginia.
West Virginia's pretty redneck,
I don't even think
man.
that's West Virginia. I think that's Virginia still right there on the border of Tennessee.
You might be right. I think there's a little sliver of Kentucky between West Virginia and Tennessee.
So what, you stayed in West Virginia and then you got caught in all that rain.
Yeah.
And then what was it from there?
Came through Kentucky. It started getting good, man. Honestly, after West Virginia, it was beautiful. Now I'm thinking about it. I think from West Virginia, I went right to the campout.
Yeah, that's what
that
I
was
saying.
like an 840 or 860. That was a pretty big day, and I did a lot of that on back roads and stuff, man. Coming through Arkansas and Oklahoma.
Lots of turns.
Dude. That's why I was so late that night too. I was like, fuck it, man. I seen these dirt roads. I just had to go up them, man. And it was just cool. It was cool. Just got lost for a little while, you know?
That's the part. That's one of the parts I want to get to on doing these trips is having the time to just be like, I got to see what's down this road.
Yeah.
I might not ever come through this way again. You know what I mean?
It's hard to do on a bike. People don't realize trying to make time it's pretty hard sometimes.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, yesterday when you text me in the morning, you're like, hey, I'll be in Dallas around 9 p.m. And you're like, I was like, okay, he's probably, in my head, I'm thinking you're past El Paso.
Yeah.
You're past El Paso.
Yeah.
But you started in Lordsburg.
Yep. I left out of Lordsburg 9:30 in the morning.
Dude, that's a haul.
And I had lunch in El Paso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it from, me and my buddy Brad stayed in Lordsburg. The last time we went to Born Free, on the way back, we went Born Free to Lordsburg and then Lordsburg home. And same thing. Exactly when you got in is exactly when we would get in.
Yeah.
It's almost like no matter what time you leave. If you left at 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 10 a.m., you're getting here at 10 or 11 p.m. It's a 12-hour. Actually.
I was on the road, I think about 13,
yeah, because you get that
hours.
extra, you lose that hour.
Yeah. Like I texted you last night. I was like, damn, dude. I said, I didn't realize we're in a different time zone.
It's weird because I don't know if Arizona right now is on mountain time or if they're on Pacific time, but sometimes it's cool, like when you're going west and you start getting those time zones, like, fuck yeah, it's only 10 o'clock again. Like the time, like it doesn't exist still or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
But when you're coming home, it's like, fuck, we're going to lose 2 hours on this trip, you know? But yeah, that's the same thing, man. Like that's a long haul down 10 through El Paso and up through 20 all the way to here. But
yeah.
But yeah, so you got to the camp out.
It was worth it. I love seeing you, man.
Did you have the like when you got to the camp? Like what made you want to go to the camp out? Was there anything specific about it, or just a stop on the way, or you don't have to? You don't have to plug it. You know?
No, I'm not. Trust me, dude. I'm not sugarcoating anything.
Yeah.
No, dude, honestly, it was convenient. I was coming through that part of the country at the right time. And I had heard about the camp out anyway because I'd been listening to your podcast, and it's just always cool, man. You know, like I said, in my younger years, I never went to events or anything. I was just like, I was kind of antisocial. I just wanted to live in the garage, wrench, build my shit, and hit the road with it, you know? And I didn't really give a shit about anything. But I really love meeting people now in the motorcycle world with common interests and with common, outlooks on life, you know?
Yeah.
So it was, and meeting you it's been rad, man.
Yeah. Well, that. I mean, like you had kind of said it about that gypsy run. You know, that's kind of what we've been trying to build is just a bare bones good time for motorcyclists. Like, you know, the best thing that I love about the camp out, and this is probably any event that's similar, is I love how the bikes are on the outside of the campground and everybody's just in their little circles talking.
Yep.
You know, so it's like that vanity of the motorcycle is not what makes you important at this event.
Right.
It's just you and the things you've done on your bike to get to this place is what makes you, people want to talk to you about it. You know what I mean? And I just think it's the way to do it. It's like, yeah, you could have trailered there, but it's still that trailer and whatever kind of bike you rode is not in the center of attention of what's going on at the campground.
Right.
We do go ride and we have a good time on it, but it's at that campground. It's just about the people there.
Yeah, man. I mean? Just sitting on a log in front of a campfire.
Yeah.
What else I liked about that is, I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't have any service in that whole Oklahoma area, man. And it was awesome. You know, it brought people together. It really did.
Yeah, it's weird because for me, it's like I needed service to be able to post things and do shit. Like I think we did a live video with Steve Chamberlain and the My Machinist guy and all the bagger dudes. We were like fucking just drunk as fuck talking shit on like a live feed.
Steve Chamberlain got a badass bagger, man.
Yeah, he does.
Dude,
it's all right. It's okay.
Dude, man, we went for that ride that morning to breakfast. He busted that thing open, man. I'm talking power wheelie, no clutch, and stood that thing up, dude. That thing moves.
Yeah, he's okay.
Damn.
we can't pump his ego too much on this thing. Well, everybody was saying that he just got that big motor upgrade so he can keep up with Mark this year on the twisties.
Oh, I don't think he's gonna keep up with him, but
no, that's my dude up there.
Yeah.
But so how was that, like that day? Just you told me last night, but tell everybody what you ended up doing that day.
So I wound up staying even an extra day after that, and we went to breakfast. You talking about going to breakfast with Adam?
All them y'all went rolling around.
We went to breakfast and we went to a place called Chuck's Classic Cycles, it was cool, man. It was me and Chuck hit it off, so I stayed the extra day. So Chuck he's got a motorcycle shop, he's got a bar and restaurant, a campground, and a little motorcycle museum, and it's just really cool, man. It's a cool place. So you said you went there and hung out, and then you went and did the Talamina. Yeah. So Chuck, dude, this guy Chuck was the nicest dude, man. Opened his doors to me, let me service my bike and shit, and then I hit the road for like 6 hours. Hit the Talamina, hit all kinds of local roads, and I rode right into the sunset and got back to Chuck's at like 8:00. And so Chuck's wife is also from a few minutes away from where I grew up on Long Island. And so we all just hit it off, man. And Chuck had a few friends over that night, and we just got fucked up, man. And I didn't even leave Chuck's until like 3 a.m. We were just having a good time.
Yeah, you rode back to the campground and all that shit. So
yeah, dude, I almost hit a hog on the way back about a mile away from Adam's place. So big ass hog.
So when you left so you ended up leaving the campground finally Monday then, huh?
Yeah.
So where was the next stop? Or was it?
Where the hell did I go from there? Oh man, it was somewhere in the middle of nowhere, man. I remember I just did laundry that night and stuff, and where the hell did I stop that next
You probably
night?
went through the panhandle of Texas though, right?
Yeah, that's right. I stayed in Amarillo.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed in Amarillo that night. Yeah.
What made you choose to go the north route, like on 40, and not like drop down? Because
it was just the quickest way at that point.
Kind of thing, or do you have an issue with like going somewhere and then coming back on the same road, or because I hate doing that.
No, I try to avoid that.
Yeah.
But I also like to chase good weather too. If it's convenient enough, I'll chase better weather.
Yeah.
And it depends on where I gotta be and when and stuff. Like El Diablo is, You
pretty much had a week to get there, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it was actually, I left late Thursday, and I got to Mexico that following Thursday, so 7 days later,
So you did the Amarillo, and then, just kind of like...
From Amarillo, I went to Brad Gregory's place, who bailed me out big time. I did a clutch cable at his house, because I was too late. I got the clutch cable laying at my house, but I was too lazy to put it in.
Which way did you come down? Because isn't he in the Phoenix area?
Yeah, he's in Phoenix. I came through... I took 40 across, and then I dropped into across the Tonto National Park, which is sick.
So did you go through like Globe and all that shit, or did you come on a little bit? Did you start dropping down in Arizona, or was it in New Mexico?
I just realized I fucked up. I did miss a stop in there. I dropped into New Mexico because I did parts of Old Route 66, and I stayed the night in Gallup, New Mexico.
Yeah, Gallup.
And that's where I went to Brad's from there.
Okay. Like you came into Holbrook and probably started going down from there.
Yep, exactly.
You didn't go to Winslow, Arizona, standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona?
No, I should have.
I didn't know there was a fucking sign there, so now I want to go. Been through it a million times, but I haven't been through that part of the Cochino National Forest, which is like Tonto National, like what you
Dude, the
did.
Tonto was fucking sick. Yeah. And I don't know, I still don't know where the hell Danger Dan was coming from up north there. But he said he came through the same way to get to Brad's house. And, and it was wild.
He's got a property, or he has something up in Red River, New Mexico, so he's always up there.
Okay.
You know, so he's probably coming from that area. I'm just assuming.
Is that where JP Rodman's place is?
It's close to it.
You think he was dropping in from there?
Might have been.
Okay.
You know, because Raton is right there by Red River and all that shit. So it's kind of like some of the nicest riding. It's not that far for us. It's less than 1,000 miles for us.
Oh, okay.
So like from here to Amarillo is 350, and it's like another 150 miles tops to get to like Raton. So it's like a 400-mile day, and you're in the fucking Colorado Rockies, you know, or in the Rockies in general. Badass riding up there. So trying to get some guys to do like a 4-day trip, like, you know, like leave, ride all the way there, then spend 3 days just banging all that shit out, and then 1 day home. Be a fun time, you know.
Definitely, man.
So you leave like Friday morning, you come back Monday night, and you fucking see a lot of cool shit. You can go pretty far. You just gotta push yourself that first day and that last day.
Absolutely.
You know, and then you can kind of relax a little bit in the days in between and just kind of enjoy the riding, kind of like you were saying, like, you know, we have 2 days to do this. We're just staying in this general vicinity.
Yeah.
So let's go see all this different shit. And then, you know, don't overdo yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't go here to fucking San Francisco and try to do that in 4 days, because that's 4 days of hard riding.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can do some pretty cool shit with a nice extended weekend.
Yeah.
Like an Easter weekend, you know? Good Friday, Easter Monday kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how a lot of my road trips are, man. I'll do 3 or 4 day weekends, and like you said, if you could blast out really good that first day and that last day, you can have yourself a good time.
Yeah, for sure. So you came through there, went to Brad Gregory's. He just moved there too.
He just moved there, man.
Yeah.
He's redoing the whole house. It's
cool.
a really nice area. Yeah, and I didn't even know, man. I got so lucky, man. He just shot me a message because he knew I was going to El Diablo, and he just said, "Oh, how you doing, man? You need a place to crash in Arizona." So I said, fuck yeah, I need a place. I need a place to ship a clutch cable to also.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I just showed up, and there was a shitload of people staying there, man.
Yeah.
And
that's what's cool about all this stuff. And that's kind of why I extended it for you too, staying here, is that, like, you know, in trying to encourage people to do these trips, you know, another great thing about it is the people that you meet on the road.
Yeah.
And as a biker that at some point in time, I'm going to be in your position, you know, the more you pay it forward, more or less, than, you know what I mean? I know it's weird for people, like, especially if, you know, oh, this dude, I know this guy from social media, like, I'm just going to let him sleep on my couch.
Yeah.
It's dude, we're all bikers. I mean,
in the biker world, man, there's definitely like a level of trust and respect.
Yeah.
I guess to anyone outside of that scene, it is weird. Like, you're just letting a stranger stay on your couch,
dude,
you know?
I had a customer in NorCal that when me and my wife went up there, like, our Airbnb was booked for 2 days, and we got there a day early. One of my dudes, I was like, I didn't want to pay for a hotel, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I was reaching out to see if there's anybody up there that we can crash with.
Yep.
And this dude was like, hey man, me and my wife and my mom, because he kind of has a house attached to his mom's house in like the Sedona Mountains and shit, or Sonora, I don't fucking know. It's up there, like it's east of fucking Stockton in the foothills, right? Really nice area. And he's like, hey man, you can just stay at my house. There's a key under this mat. You know, got a pool if you want to go swimming and all this shit. Dude, we literally went and stayed at somebody's house while they weren't even fucking there. They were in Vegas for the weekend. And he's just like, yeah, man. Never saw him. Didn't see him on Sunday or nothing. Like, just
no payment, no nothing.
No, just dude, hey man, my house is there. And yes, it is a level of trust. I mean, realistically, we're all adults. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go in there and wreck your house and be like, bro, party was lit last night. You know, like, I'm not going to disrespect somebody. Or at the same time, if I'm traveling across country, then I'm going to try to not leave a footprint by staying in your house or whatever.
Right.
But, you know, hopefully that we can also talk, and like, I don't want to just come to your house and use your shit. I like to hang out.
Right.
You know?
You want to meet a new friend.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So there's something really cool about it. And I've had quite a few people reach out to me doing that, and I'm just feeling like, man, like, if I can help somebody that's going across country, cool. Sometimes the wife's a little weird about it.
Yeah.
But she's not a biker, so she doesn't get it.
Right. Right. Yeah, I definitely I extend the same invitation, man. You know,
it'd be different if, like, hey, I'm gonna be in Dallas for a week.
Right.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, you got to go after the first day.
Yeah. But yeah, a night or two, man, is you know.
So what was it like
Definitely.
hanging out at Brad's with all the Instagrammers there?
Yeah, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here, man?
Yeah.
Like, I'm the only fucking nobody at this place. But it was cool. We went to dinner, had some drinks, and then me and Dan and Mikey Revolt and his girlfriend headed out early the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
It was really quick, man. It was a good time, but it was just a chill time. Mostly me, Dan, and this dude Chopper Jesus just hung out in Brad's garage.
For real?
Yeah. This dude Chopper Jesus, man. I just met him that night. He was a fucking riot, man.
For real?
Yeah. Some dude from, I think he's from San Fran or something.
Well, we have a T-bar Jesus and a Chopper Jesus now, so
Yeah.
we need to get a Dyna Jesus.
Damn. We need an FXR Jesus.
I don't know. It's almost like you like I used to do call a lot of people royalty, like FXR royalty. Mm-hmm. Dude, some people get butthurt, like, oh man, he's not that guy. This, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So I'd be scared to call anybody the FXR Jesus. Somebody be pissed. You know? But yeah, so after that, you just is that what from there it was like tracked down to Mexico? Where'd y'all go through at San Diego?
No, we crossed through somewhere in Arizona, San Luis Carato, I think is the border crossing. It was in Phoenix though. Mm-hmm. And not Phoenix. It was out of Arizona.
Yeah,
But,
so you went through like Yuma and all that shit.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. Mike's bike wound up breaking down, man. It was pouring oil out of this lifter block or the push rod tube. I think both, but
It's like probably a fucking O-ring went out or some shit.
yeah, that's what he was saying. That the O-ring probably got pinched or whatever. But it was just pouring oil. So him and his girl went back to Brad's, and me and Dan continued on. And
How big of a group was it? Like
we rode out with 4 people, but there was probably like a dozen people staying at Brad's house.
Yeah.
And people were leaving at various times. Literally everyone was just leaving on various times, various days. We rolled out Thursday.
What is the structure of the El Diablo? Like, what's the premise of it? You know what I mean? That you know.
I'm like the wrong guy to be asking, man. I just live life in my own little bubble. I mean, the gist that I got from it was, hey, everybody, this is where we'll be down in Mexico. Just get your ass there.
Yeah.
There's no big structure to it.
How was it crossing? Have you ever ridden, internationally?
Canada, yeah. Which is like Northern America. It's like, it's not even, it's like America's hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I love Canada, man. That's some cool stuff up there too. But this is the first time I've been to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the experience like crossing the border and doing all that shit?
It was easy, dude. It wasn't anything like I thought it would be.
Everybody's always saying that the border towns are always like your most sketchy. I mean, did you...
Dude, that border town was sketchy.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how, like, what's the vibe? Like, like if somebody was interested in doing a trip into Mexico, like what would be your advice on that? Like, would you say it's worth going if you're not doing the El Diablo run? Would it be something you could do with your homies on, a weekend trip, if you're around there?
Yes. It's definitely something I would like to ride back into Mexico and explore other parts of it and stuff. But my big problem is I don't speak any Spanish. Mm-hmm. That'd be my only advice to someone is it really makes it easier if you could speak the language. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, man, just go. Don't be afraid of it. I don't know. A lot of guys were saying how weird it was and how shitty the area was, but I don't know, man. I've done a lot of traveling and I've been to some fucking shitholes in New York, and
Yeah.
I was comfortable enough there,
So was it just like that border town in general was like super, like, how would you say it? It was just like kind of had that.
Dude, that border town was your typical like third world feel, some shit you see on TV.
So when you rode through El Paso, did you like see the border wall and like see how like Juarez looks just like huts on a fucking hill?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because like when you're looking over there, you don't see like a Walmart sign or a McDonald's sign or a fucking gas station sign. It literally looks like the same of everything on a mountainside, right?
Yep.
And then of course on the United States side, you got fucking Applebee's and Harley and fucking Twin Peaks, all these different restaurants and places to spend money, and it's just like, man, that'd be weird to live over there and just every day look at like modern civilization.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you don't blame those people
right
for
across the street.
taking the walk, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. I mean, it's a real different vibe.
Dude, I'll say this, though. Once you get past the border town, it's like, it's definitely a depressed country. But when you're in places like in San Felipe, like, dude, it's not that bad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just stick to the main streets and it's all good. I mean, we were comfortable enough where, like, me and Danger Dan and this kid Crazy Jer from Colorado, man, we were fucking riding the main beach down right on a boardwalk. I don't even know if you're supposed to or allowed to, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. It's cool, man.
It didn't feel like there's like groups of people, like cartel people and shit, just kind of like lingering around, like
there was
waiting to fuck with
some
you?
police, and then there was like some military fucking riding around with their AKs and shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I guess it's the chance you take.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're supposed to be having Scooter Tramp Scotty. You follow him?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
we're gonna be talking with him soon. He's been hitting a bad series of campsites that haven't got service and shit. But you know, he's a big advocate for Mexico. He goes and spends a lot of time in Mexico every winter.
No kidding.
Basically, and he kind of, you know, watching some of his YouTube videos and even some of the things that he posts on Facebook and shit. It's like for him down there, it's like it's just normal. And for some reason, he's always at campgrounds that are like, he was talking about one campground he was in the Baja there, that people from like Oregon were like fucking kayaking down the coast, and they would go all the way down the coast to there and then go all the way back up the coast. Like just the craziest bicyclers.
Wow.
Like there's so many people that do this cross country travel thing in different methods, whether it is in a boat, or a fucking bicycle. I'm sure there's people doing it in rollerblades. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like it's kind of all it's all kind of inspiring in a way. You know,
Yeah.
Dude. Me and my brother were having the dumbest conversation the other day. Right? I told him, I was like, man, I want to walk somewhere real far, just to say I did it. Like
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, but nah. I was like, he's sanding parts and I'm in there working and we're at the shop and I'm like, dude, you think we could walk to Austin tonight?
No hitchhiking, just walk.
No, just walk. Just fucking walk down there. And he's like, dude, it'll take like a week to get there. I'm like, nah, dude. We totally be there by tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, can't you Google map
Yeah,
that?
so we Google mapped it, and it was like right at 27 hours or some shit to go there.
No
or 24
shit.
hours. And I was like, yeah, but that's continually walking. We wouldn't be able to stop for anything. So it'd probably take a little over a day. And but yeah, that was a legit conversation and a legit thought that went through my head like, fuck it, I'm gonna walk somewhere.
Dude, you imagine telling somebody like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? You're like, oh, I went to Austin, but I walked.
Yeah. That's how fucking chopper I am. But I mean, that movie, dude, that Forrest Gump movie is like, I've said it a million times, one of my favorite movies of all time.
It is, man. It's a great movie.
I think what I love about it so much is just the vast amount of experiences that this character had.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, just the way, and especially the scene where he was running, like, cause you know, the Monument Valley thing was awesome, but just running through like that, where the fucking trees and the pond reflected, like that kind of shit. When you're riding a bike, that's the kind of shit that really fucking like, dude, like this is, I don't know what I'm doing here, but this feels majestic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're in those like very scenic areas, those things you see in puzzles and shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that shit to me has always been like a huge motivator for travel as of the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy too, man, because I've done road trips in cars and on bikes. Same road trip, same destination, same road. But man, it's like you can't even compare doing it on a bike versus a car.
Yeah.
It is magical, man.
It's like you're forced to focus on your surroundings in a way that in a car you can kind of check out, you know?
Yeah. You're really more in tune with the world on a bike.
Yeah, and man, it's just like I said, watching that movie and even like the Into the Wild movie with that kid that just checked out.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff is cool. It's like I can't. I have a family. I have a business and fucking responsibilities that I can't just ghost on. But there is a part of me that needs that escape. Like I was talking about earlier, where I took the trip to Cali. Like I just need to get the fuck away.
Right.
Yes, it was a bad idea to do it in February, but I just needed to get away and just kind of like, be stuck in your head for a fucking day or two. You know what I mean? Just on the road. So it was really needed and whatnot. But so what was Mexico like as far as like once you got to the destination? Was it a fucking rager or what?
Yeah, dude, we fucking Mexico'd pretty hard. Mexico was really cool though, man. Oh, dude, so I should mention this also. On the way down there, right, when it was me and Dan just going, Dan pulls into a random gas station in Arizona. He just seen like a dozen choppers and shit in there. Just pulled in, And I wound up seeing someone that I hadn't seen in 10 years, man. I met him on that gypsy run on the East Coast. This dude, Charlie the Nomad. And like it was fucking random. And then Dan knew like the whole rest of the group. So like we hooked up with that group, and then we rode into Mexico with them.
That's cool.
We lost Dan just before that. Who the hell knows where the hell he went? But we met him down in Mexico.
He's a drifter for sure.
Oh, dude, he's honest about it though. He's on his own page. He don't give a fuck. Which is cool. I appreciate honesty.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, and then Mexico was cool, man. The group we hooked up with at that gas station, man, was solid gold. Like friends for life, man. Really cool dudes, man. They were from New Mexico and Colorado area, and I think some from Arizona. I know Charlie's in Arizona. Yeah, Mexico was, dude, it was just it was like just a few days of hanging out on the beach, checking out motorcycles, bullshitting with people.
What's the like the actual event itself? Was there any kind of like major party that took place that like y'all went to, or was it just a continuous camp out experience?
Basically a continuous camp out party on the beach.
For real.
So on Monday they have a chopper show right on the boardwalk there in San Felipe, like on the main strip there. Yeah. And then on Sunday they had like the Circle of Death race and shit like that. But besides that, man, it's just kind of like, there's like a few little campgrounds right there on the beach. And everyone's just fucking partying there the whole weekend, man. There's little parties everywhere, and hanging out at people's huts and shit. And that was it. We were shooting in and out of town, partying there. San Felipe has the world's worst strip clubs. Those girls they're something, man.
I never thought about going to Mexico. Yeah. To me, if I went to a strip club in Mexico and it wasn't like from dusk till dawn, is it a real strip club in Mexico? The movie Dusk Till Dawn,
Oh, yeah. At the Titty Twister, right? Yeah. That's the name of the place? Yeah. It ain't like that, dude.
No Salma Hayek's in there?
No. They looked like you, man.
Oh, I'm fucking sorry, man. Well, they're not my kids.
But
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, outside of that, the riding was really cool. The sunrises on the east side of the peninsula were awesome. The last day we were there, I took my bike on the beach and took some sunset pictures. Shout out to the strange dude that helped me push my bike out. I got stuck going out there. Metzler tires aren't that good in the sand.
Yeah. What's the water like there? Is it pretty clean, clear, or is it?
Yeah. No. It's not as clear as like you would think. Like it ain't crystal clear, but it's very nice. It's way nicer than New York beaches. Is it cold like the Pacific? No. It was really nice, dude. And I'm such a bitch when it comes to like cold weather and cold water.
Y'all's water. It up in the Northeast, it's not cold like Pacific, is it? Like all year?
No, it warms up good in the summertime. It warms up, but then obviously freezes in the summer. I mean, in the winter. But the Mexico beaches, man, it was beautiful. It was like temperature-wise, like New York in the summer. Definitely even warmer now I'm thinking about it. And it was really nice, pretty clear water. It was cool.
So when you ended up leaving, did you go back to the same checkpoint, or did you kind of cut over?
Oh, man, I should have taken the advice of Charlie and went back through the same checkpoint. But I wanted to kind of like dip into the California coast a little, so I went through Mexicali. I just on principle, I wanted to say that I went to California. And that was a mistake too, because that place is a shithole also.
Was it harder getting back in?
Way harder, only because of where I went. It was fast, but it was just like you had to navigate through this shithole. It felt like it was just a bitch to navigate through. The border crossing in Arizona is like straightforward, on and off the highway, quick. There's no back streets. There's no bullshit. There was no lines. We pulled right up just like it was a regular old toll booth. Paid, in and out. Done deal.
Cost money to go across?
Yeah. I don't know what it was. Charlie paid for the whole group.
For real?
Yeah. Shout out to that dude, man. He's
probably
fucking,
not super
guy's
expensive.
solid gold, man.
Yeah.
I don't even care if it was a penny a person. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So did you just like from that point on just go basically head back towards, what was it, Highway 8 towards 10? Or
Yeah,
what?
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Did you stop by like Glamis or any of that shit?
I rode through it.
You did?
Yeah.
Does it look cool?
It looked really cool, dude.
So when I
Yeah.
left Cali, I wanted to stop so bad, and right there in Indo, and just drop down and go around. I wanted to go see Slab City and fucking Glamis and all that stuff, but it was just so far off. Not that it was so far off the path. It was just, I know that when I got to these places, I was going to spend an hour or two there.
Yeah.
And there's no way I would have probably made it to Lordsburg that night.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and then for me, I was like, I know that I'm going to have to ride, because that next day I was going to have to ride all the way home in that cold. And I was like, I don't want to have to do it from Lordsburg all the way there. At least the further I get tonight, then the better I'll be tomorrow. So, yeah, that trip I did 1,100 miles the first day out, and I did 980 miles from LA, from Venice Beach to Van Horn.
Damn.
And I was so pissed. Like my OCD kicked in. I was like, 20 fucking more miles, dude. I just want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but yeah, Lordsburg is a good little stop though.
Yeah.
You can when I go that way sometimes and I have time, from Lordsburg I'll start going north to Phoenix, and you go through Globe. It's a little bit more off the highway, but there's some nice winding roads, and you go through some super small towns and shit like that. It's pretty nice. So I dug it. So yeah, you just stopped through Cali and went straight. Yeah,
and then I started rolling toward here, and stopped in Lordsburg. Yeah. I never did. I want to do it this year, over 1,000 mile day. But I never did. I never tried to. But
it's some weird thing that a lot of people. I've been hearing a lot more lately, because I know some of the vloggers around here have been like trying to get people to do the 1,000 mile days, and there is a great accomplishment feeling of doing it. Like it's a fun challenge.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a fun challenge if you're going somewhere with it. Like if I've heard of people doing the iron butt thing, where they just kind of do a lot of riding locally, and I'm like, man, that
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, dude. Like you're in the same fucking, like think about it. 500 miles from here is like, you can go from here to Van Horn, and then back, and that's 1,000 miles. That's fucking stupid. You're in the same place you started. Like that's not cool. Like just go 1,000 miles away somewhere, and maybe do, maybe a 2-day trip. Do 1,000 miles somewhere and 1,000 miles back, but a different way.
Yeah.
Or a 3-day trip where you do that, and then you maybe break it up in two 500-mile days on the way back.
Yeah.
Make it an experience, man.
That's how I would do it. I wouldn't just do it to do it. I would do it to like kick off a road trip or to get somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just do it to say I did it.
Yeah. There's no, put it like this. It's not hard. Anybody can fucking do it.
Right.
So it's like, you're not a unicorn because you pulled it off. You know what I mean? Like I think that there's a lot of people don't know about the iron butt stuff, because I hear a lot of people talk about doing 1,000 miles, but they've never heard of iron butt.
Right.
But there's a whole list of things of goals and accomplishments that you could do with iron butt. There's another one called the iron saddle and seat and all this other crazy shit, where like if you do 1,300 or 1,500 miles in 27 hours, there's a patch or a chain or a pin or some shit for that. There's like the cross country one in like so many days, and there's all kinds of those challenges, which I get for some bikers in the world, especially maybe the older crowds. Like those are cool things to do amongst friends,
Right.
Like, let's just do this 4 corners ride. You know what I mean?
Right.
Things like that. But I don't know. got to be something to it for me.
Yeah, I'm always I'm more of like a I guess ADD rider, man. Like if I'm riding, you know, another thing I love doing on these road trips, man, is stopping in ghost towns and shit. You could just Google like ghost towns in the West, or like hot springs in the mountains, or you know, if I see a cool river, man, I'm just.
You haven't been through a Tombstone yet, have you?
No,
dude. It's
no.
like 30 miles off of 10.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking cool, man.
Okay.
You know, because A, that's one of the best country western movies ever.
Hell yeah.
And B, when you're there, it's like that town is famous for that fucking reason. You know what I mean? Like there's like plaques on the ground. This is where the OK Corral shootout was. This is where so and so. It's just like when you're in Deadwood. You been to Sturgis yet?
No, man.
So in Deadwood, it's the same thing. Like you can walk into the bar that Wild Bill got shot in, and the chair that he got shot in is above the door.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's got to be a cool vibe.
Dude, that town, here's the deal. The first time I went to Sturgis and I went to that town, I immediately went home and started watching Deadwood on fucking HBO. Like, there's just so much history in that shit, man. Like, things took place there. Like, there's something weird about to me, there's something inspirational about the people that were pushing west in that 1800s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were pushing west and that frontier of bringing civilization. There's something very like interesting. I'm very interested in that shit. You know, like remember that TV show, that Hell on Wheels? It was about like they were moving the railroad across the country, and basically it was called Hell on Wheels because the town would move to the next 30-mile stop.
Right.
For and they would build this town off of it while they continued building the railroad. It was just an interesting show about some of how that stuff. I don't think it was factual as far as like an actual historical event, but it is about what it kind of was. It's historical in the fact that this kind of thing took place, but it was a fucking TV show. So
right.
But
it is fascinating how the West was built.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fascinating.
It's weird how, to me, it's like you go through once you pass like from here to Cali, there's not so much development, right?
Right.
Unless you're a railroad town like Cheyenne, Denver, everything was a railroad town from here west.
Yeah, the railroads built the West, man.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
But then you get to the coast and you see these massive cities like L.A. and San Francisco, and you're like, what happened here? Like, how did this get so big? And everything in between is just kind of struggling, you know?
It is weird, man. Once you get off the coasts, it's kind of weird, man. You got a few big cities, and there's a lot of it's tough out there when you're in the middle of nowhere, man. Some of these local economies, they're pretty shitty outside of in the middle of nowhere sometimes, which sucks because that's some of the most beautiful places in the country.
Yeah, it's almost kind of in a sense like, well, it's kind of cool the way it is because it's not overrun.
Yeah,
with cities and housing developments and shit like that. So, is there any land very much on the East Coast, or is it kind of really hardcore developed everywhere?
No, there's definitely land, but it's not as wide open as the West. But there's definitely land. Like, you got, hundreds of acre plots, thousands of acres plots, but not in the New York City area,
For sure.
But like up in the Catskills, we're on a couple hundred acres, and the neighbors got like 500 and, 1,000 here, 1,000 there.
Yeah.
It's pretty spread out. It's pretty country. But the West, man, you could be in the middle of nowhere, man. It's,
for hours.
Like nowhere. Yeah.
That's what we were saying last night. When you're in Utah, it's all great, but as soon as you cross into Nevada, you're like, dude, this place is a shithole. It's like the same thing as Utah.
Yeah.
It's just that it's Nevada now. There's like, when you're on the northern side of Nevada and you're like coming from Salt Lake to Reno, dude, there's nothing.
Absolutely
like you hit the salt flats and then you're just like on your own for about 300 miles.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah. I remember we came across Bonneville on that last cross country road trip. And I think I held that dyna at about 120 for fucking 45 minutes, maybe 110 for like 45 minutes straight. And you're just like still nothing. There's just nothingness.
I think that's maybe that's the thing about like
what is that, 80 you're coming across there?
I think so.
I think it's 80. Yeah.
Because it's like there's no, like, you're not crossing mountain ranges up there in northern Nevada like you are if you're in Arizona on 40. Like you're climbing Flagstaff, you're kind of zipping and zooming around these big mountains.
Yeah.
In northern Nevada, from what I remember, you're just straight. I mean, it's got some hills, you see mountains, but the valleys are so vast between the mountains that it's like, you're not really hitting them.
I think you don't really hit any decent scenery again until you're on like the western border of Nevada.
Yeah, it's when you get to Reno, basically.
Yeah,
you get to Reno, and then you're right there on the California border with the Yosemite, and you can cut down. Like what we're gonna do is cut down to South Lake Tahoe, and then ride through those mountains over into like the NorCal area. Mm-hmm. But
it's a nice area, man.
Dude, the foothills are so nice to ride over there. Hell, the mountains are as well, but I think that's the area that I like. I like riding foothills. They're a little bit more smoother.
Oh man, I love those big mountain passes, man. I love those crazy ass mountain roads.
How big are the mountains out there on the East Coast? You say they're pretty.
It depends. So like up by Laconia, when you're talking in the White Mountains, I think they'll go like I want to say like the summit's around 7,000 foot.
That's about. That's our
which
biggest.
Is nothing for the West.
Yeah, our biggest peak here in Texas is actually 7,400. I think.
Yeah.
It's the Guadalupe Mountain, and it's literally a mountain range in New Mexico.
Yeah.
It's just that it comes into Texas's border, and it's part of that mountain range, so it's like the tallest thing we have.
Right.
But we got Big Bend too, which is pretty big, but it's nowhere near that. We're probably in the 5,000 or 6,000 feet.
Yeah. They're out in the east. The mountains are much smaller. Like the Catskills, man, they'll peak at like maybe 3,500, 4,000. I know where we are. The peak of our hill is like 2,400 foot. It's not huge mountains. We call them hills, really.
Yeah.
But it's called the Catskill Mountains. But,
it's kind of how it was when I was riding through the Smokies. It was like, they're mountains. Kind of like the same thing with Oklahoma. Like when you're on top of Talamina, you're like, it's pretty fucking high up here, but it didn't feel like we climbed it.
I think I saw a sign that said 7,000 feet.
No way.
Around there, Oklahoma. Yeah.
I don't believe that.
You don't think it was even that high?
No, dude, 7,000 feet. Like you're looking at ants on the ground, dude. Like if you're on top of that and you're looking down, it's like you're looking at fucking like you can see a whole fucking city. You know what I mean?
That's true, man. Now that I'm thinking,
I would say it's probably in the 3,000 to 4,000 mountain or square footage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See if I can look it up. Not super important information.
Yeah, man.
So what's the plan what's your plan on the way home from here?
So on the way home from here, man, I would like to come through Tennessee, maybe Memphis or Nashville. I love those two cities. Maybe see some good live music. And then it's on my way to the Wild Rabbit Moto Show. Coming for you, Jay Shia. Madhouse Motors.
Nice.
I don't know if they run that show or someone else does, and they're like the #1 sponsor or something. I don't know.
What is all that?
I guess I'll figure it out when I get up there. But I just can't wait to see those. Dude, Boston has just got the coolest fucking people, man.
For real.
Yeah,
that's where Chris Harry is up there.
Who?
Mighty Whitey, Chris Harry.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
He's up in there.
He's an FXR guy, right?
Dude, he's one
crazy.
He's one of the
dude.
FXR.
Yeah.
He would be in the running for the Jesus title.
Okay.
But he's bald headed, so I don't think it works. You got to have a hairy dude for that.
Shit, I'll wear a wig, man, if I have to.
Yeah. So the tallest point in Oklahoma is like 2,500 feet, and it's just a little bit further north of where the Talamina Parkway is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder where I saw that 7,000 sign.
7,000 feet to.
Trip. Oh, I know where it was. Coming through the Tonto is where I saw the 7,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Arizona. You get the states confused, man.
When you're going across all of them. So you're gonna go. You're gonna go home and then basically go back out on another trip. But that's a weekend rip, right?
No, so we're gonna be in the Smokies for like 10 days, man. We're doing.
Oh, that's right. You're doing the FXR.
We're doing
jam.
FXR Jam. We're doing the Smoke Out in Rockingham, and we're staying on the tail of the Dragon. There's like a hotel right on the tail. We're camping out there.
That's cool.
I think it's called like the Tail of the Dragon Campout or some shit.
Dude, there's a right there where there's a cafe and across there's like a little GoPro store and has all the little.
There. That's where we're staying.
It's a pretty like. There's only a few parts in the country I've ever felt like I was in a motorcycle like oriented spot, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Like it really felt like a biker's paradise there. You know, like Sturgis is like that. But yeah, the Tail of the Dragon felt that way as well.
Yeah,
so.
It's a cool part of the country, man. So and then in between the events, we're just gonna be riding around the Smokies, and I never been to the Wheel Through Time Museum over in Maggie Valley, so we're gonna hit that up. And then from there, we're heading north for that following weekend for the Harley Rendezvous upstate New York, which is fucking awesome. I do that every year. That's that's a crazy, another old school biker kind of thing, man. Just down and dirty.
You know what I was talking with somebody about, man? I was like, it's funny how like the biker chicks, and yes, we're going to talk about titties in this one. Yeah. So it's like the biker.
I'll cover my ears.
The biker events that like I remember going to as a kid with like my parents and shit. Mm-hmm. You know, dude, titties were just everywhere all the time. You know what I mean? Like it was an Easy Rider show for like event everywhere. Like, and then you go now, it's like all these same chicks that are at these events, they won't pull them out. They won't dump them out, but you go to their Instagram page and there's literally like a blur of a brown nipple on all their shit. And I'm like, dude, like just why you do it for the gram, but not for real life? You know what I mean?
Dude, you know, the Instagram has spawned this age of like fake biker.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's like at breakfast, like I said, is, you know, everyone wants to be a biker until it's time to be a biker, you know, and it's people are definitely doing things for the wrong reason. You know, you really got to sort out the real shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, because you know everybody's take on their dipping their toe in this is different. You know, but I don't know. Like, part of me wants to just push people in a more aggressive way. Like, come on, man, stop being a little bitch. Just go do some motorcycle shit. And then there's the other part where it's like, you know, I get it. You know, everybody's like, man, you know, I got a family. I got, you know, kids. I only have this much vacation. Yeah. And then I got to take my wife to this place and the kids to this. So I don't get to do the things I want to do. And, you know, like the bad parent I might be is like, oh, fuck those kids. Let's go fucking ride bikes. You know what I mean? But I get it, man.
It's hard to not be so judgmental. But I think, dude, too many people make excuses about everything in life, man. Whether it's, oh, I can't ride for so-and-so reason. I can't do this. You know, a lot of things in life, man, you got to just fucking jump in and just do it, man. Yeah. You got to just do it.
I think that's probably the same thing with me too, is I get a little tired of excuses. Yeah. You know, because I think that dude, it's not hard. You just do it, right? Yeah. But it is, I do want to give credit that, yes, it can be difficult to navigate those family waters and shit. You know what I mean? But
hell yeah, man. I
mean, I don't know. I've always said if you have a good relationship with your wife, that she should be able to understand that this is something that you want and need for yourself, and be secure enough to allow you to do these type of things, or secure enough to go with you, you know, and realize that like, hey, you know, I need me too. You know what I mean? I need to be able to do the things I want to do in my life so that I can be happy with myself, so that I can come home and be a happy person for you. Right. As opposed to just like fucking waiting on you hand and foot. Like every time I get an extra check, it's got to go to this or that, or, you know, shit you don't want to do. Like my wife hates me sometimes, you know, because she's like, hey, can we not do a biker trip this year? Can we just go to Mexico and, you know, just sit in the Bahamas? And I'm like, my mind, that sounds awesome. Yeah. In reality, I'm like, that's 2 weeks we're going to be gone. Man, I could go all the way to New York and back in 2 weeks, you know? Yeah. So it's a weird balance, but I don't know. I wish I could be a better ambassador for it, to where I'm like nicer. But I don't like to reward people for mediocrity when it comes to doing things, you know? Yeah. Not that I'm a reward system or anything, but, right. You know, like, I'm not going to be like, hey, good job trying. You know, do it, dude. That's why you're on here, not somebody that was thinking about going on a trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So. And, you know, you get it a lot, too, man. Like, you know, I never had a chase truck. You know, a lot of guys, they won't even fucking do a road trip if there's not a chase truck, if there's not this or that. It's like, dude, that's just life, man. It's like, well, how bad could things go, man? You're just driving across the country. Like,
I mean, worst case scenario, a bike gets stolen. You just catch a flight home.
That's it. Bike breaks down, ship it home, and fucking catch a flight. Or you're stuck somewhere for a day or two until it's getting fixed.
Yeah, I've had friends just rent a U-Haul truck and put it in the back.
Yeah. That actually happened with the group that we met at that gas station. They left out of there, and his bike blew up. So he took an Uber to the U-Haul, rented a truck, rode him and the bike back to Colorado, fired up another bike, and met us in Mexico a day later.
Damn, that's fucking gangster.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you got to ride all the cool shit twice.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. That's the thing,
but
man.
That's what it's all about, man. You know.
Well, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, on our camp out, you know, you kind of did the farthest trek, but we had, you know, Steve and Peaches. Yeah. Fucking weird.
Dude,
Peaches is
man.
fun as hell. But we
Yeah.
had Steve and him, and then I forget his name, but the guy that came from Flint, Michigan. It's
Yeah.
like on the tip of my tongue because I just started following him on Instagram as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but you know, he rode that whole trip solo, got rained on damn near the whole time.
Yeah,
And
man.
then I think they were riding back into like snow. Like,
No shit.
yeah. So I think when they were headed home from the camp out, it was going to be, you know, really shitty weather. So kudos to them for doing that. And then Craig from Tampa rode up. And so it was just those kind of things are inspiring to me. Like, man, like, you know, I want to be one of those guys to somebody else's event, like Steve's, or if we do one down in Florida with Craig and them. So that shit's fun to me, you know, not going for the Born Free thing, not doing this, just going to
hang out with
people.
some new friends.
Yeah.
You know, this world needs more of that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. Like maybe people, it's not as glamorous as the El Diablo run. Like there's you know, you could take all these pictures and you could be the baddest biker on social media after you go to these events, and you got the picture with the San Felipe sign.
Yeah.
Or you go to Born Free and you take pictures with all your favorite, you know, chopper guys, and it's like that's cool too, man. Like it's cool to nerd out on those kind of things. But if you're you know, like with the other thing we were talking about, we don't have to say any names, but if you're gonna go on those trips, don't be a dick and a bitch to everybody.
Yeah.
And then try to be cool when the cameras come out. You know what I mean?
And exactly, man. And you see that at so many of these events now, man. It's like, you know, some of these people, they don't want to even give you the time of day. And then it's, you know, they kind of, oh, you're friends with this person or that person. And it's like, now you're going to act like, you know,
Yeah.
the cameras are out and like, you know, let's fucking shine. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And it's, you know, I don't know, man. That's like what Instagram has spawned, is all that.
You know, it
all that
is weird
bullshit.
though, because what I'm saying is weird about is that I think for a lot of us that have started to get some type of like social media following, it's the first time for a lot of us to have any type of attention in that manner. And I don't like to say the word fame because it's not like fame like what you would think of like somebody that earned it, like an actor or a musician or a badass artist, right? It's literally just followers, people who
Right.
follow the things that you do on your thing, right? So when you have all these people, I like to say just attention, sometimes it's hard to navigate how to act or how to be,
Yeah.
even when the cameras are off or when the it's just sitting around a fire, or when you got to be normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is hard not to get caught up on like, you know, that whole, you know, snapping a picture and seeing how many likes it'll get.
Yeah.
You know, it is, you know. But, hey, what are you going to do, man? Some people can't control that.
Yeah, like I said, you know, earlier, there's this weird thing where, you know, part of it is a business side of it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with you're trying to get that reach and trying to get those messages or those posts out or the events out or wherever it is that you might be trying to promote, which is a perfect place to do that. But,
Yeah.
you know, it does.
You're walking a fine line.
Yeah.
You know, you really do. You walk a fine line. You know, and I don't think some people are capable of walking that line.
Dude, I've been telling myself this. If for some reason I did something to where I had 100,000 followers,
Yeah.
I'd probably have to kill myself because I would turn into the biggest douchebag ever. Right now, I just joke about being famous. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like our group. And I've said this a million times, but our group, it's like we play that whole thing sometimes. Like, you know, that scenario where it's like I'm Jace from the Fast Life. You know, like it's funny. It's a funny thing to us in our group, right? But it's not a serious thing. But I could tell that I think that it might become a serious thing if I had like a shit ton of followers. Could you imagine having 1 million followers?
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Dude,
I'd be Kanye. I'd be crazy. That's why people are fucking crazy, man. Is they get all this fucking attention and they feel like they got to do something. Like, oh shit, like everybody's watching me. I got to do something stupid or something. I got to be profound or something.
Dude, that's what would scare me is, man, I'd be doing some dumb shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be really doing some stupid shit.
It's a weird reward system. You know, we
Yeah.
were talking about that earlier, and like I was telling you, I turn all my notifications off. It's because it's a weird reward system when you post something or you put something out there and then you want to watch it get attention.
Yeah, you're
And
looking for like
gives you like those dopamine hits or whatever the fuck
it does, man, and you're relying on like total strangers to justify
Yeah.
your status or whatever. It's fucked up, man.
Yeah, and so like it's kind of a toxic way of going about things. So like there's there's so many benefits to social media, right? Mm-hmm. So many, but
dude, honestly, all the shit we're talking about, it did change a lot for me.
So tell me how it changed for you.
Just making a lot of friends and stuff like that, man. But I would equate it to like winning the lottery. Mm-hmm. If you're a shitty person and you win the lottery, your personality is just gonna get amplified by that.
Yeah.
If you're a shitty person in real life and you get yourself on Instagram, and you're just gonna be a fucking shitty person on Instagram, it's just gonna be amplified. Yeah. You're gonna see all that stupid attention and all that bullshit. But if you're a positive person, not out there for the wrong reasons, mm-hmm. and just being yourself, man. For me, it's been great. It's made my own little personal reach, and I'm not a business. I have nothing to promote. I'm just some crazy ass kid on a motorcycle, man. Yeah. And it's just been great, man. It really has been.
What I've really enjoyed about that and doing podcasts is like meeting everybody and almost being influenced by the different personalities and the different walks of life. Mm-hmm. That's kind of helped me try to better shape who I am, because I got bad qualities just like everybody. We all have our things that like, I wish I wasn't so much this, or dude, you give me a couple beers and you want to talk bike stuff, I'm talking shit about everybody. You know what I mean? Like that's me.
Yeah. We were letting it fly last night.
Yeah. Cause I'm very passionate about all this stuff, but it's not an excuse. It's something that I wish that I didn't do. Right. Yeah. Like the homies from Hellbent came up a couple weeks ago and we did a podcast and then we went to the bike night afterwards, got fucking shit faced and just talk shit all night. I mean, it's true shit, but it's still talking shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, I don't really want to do that. Like I would rather be talking positive about things, but for some reason that negativity that we see in the thing just it strikes a different chord than the positive stuff. So it's like something that I'm consciously trying to be more aware of. Like, man, I need to talk more about what this guy did that was badass and less about what this guy did that was a douchey thing to do. Yeah. Because I'm kind of being douchey for talking shit about what he did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the human condition, man. It's very difficult to you got to make a real effort to be a positive person. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think everyone's had those negative times in their life, but yeah, man.
Well, you could tell like when the conversation's always gossip about something, which, like I said, completely guilty of, 100%. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Maybe that conversation is how we kind of find our connections with people. Because even the most positive people that I know that still have their convictions of other things, Mm-hmm. So it's like I think it's in all of us. But yeah, it is more of how can we be more positive about it, Yeah. So I don't know. Super hippie love peace there for you guys. So what's up? What else is going on this year for you, man? Any other trips?
That Smokies trip. This girl, Amy Lynn, she's on Instagram, Whiskey Eye. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's some numbers in there. But anyways, she's one of the girls that started this Babes, Bikes, and Beards thing up in Boston. Mm-hmm. And she's doing a bike build for the Greasy Dozen in Ohio. So we're riding out there with her bike, no trailer. We're actually riding the show bike there. Yeah. From Boston. And so that's
when's that?
That's in June sometime. I want to say like June 23rd or something like that. I don't know.
How's the Indian Larry party?
That's pretty awesome, man. That's a good time, but it's just a day party, Mm-hmm. If you want to come to that, man, stay at my place. I'm about 40 minutes from there.
The thing that sucks about it is mm-hmm. that it's right in the cusp, or it's right in the same vicinity of Sturgis. Mm-hmm. So it's like a month after Sturgis. Mm-hmm. But they just started that new Four Corners rally, which is going west again. Yeah. It's kind of like... when I did the podcast with Dump Truck, he was like, man, you should go. And he's like, he kind of talked me into it. He influenced me into it. Yeah. And so it's like... I kind of want to do it now, and I thought it'd be a good trip to take my wife on, just me and her, and maybe, somebody else wants to go, cool, but it's not a super long trip. It's like 1,100 miles from here to there. Mm-hmm. So it's not like fucking 1,000 miles plus another 500 the next day. It's like we're there at that. But man, I want to go to New York so fucking... I just want to go northeast, man. Yeah. I have a lot of friends in North Carolina and up the coast, so it's like trying to continue to build that friends list so I can save on those hotels and shit.
Dude, you should try and time it. You got a place to stay in New York. you should try and time it where you could hit a few shows there on the East Coast, you know. But the Indian Larry thing, it's just a 1-day event, man. It's really cool. But isn't
it the same time as the Brooklyn Invitational or some shit?
It used to be the same day. Now they do it. I think last year was the first year they did it on a different date, like a weekend apart.
Oh, that sucks.
Which I think is stupid because all these dudes coming from out of town.
Yeah, I can't stay there for a week.
If both shows were still the same day, a guy like you could justify hitting both of them in 1 day, one trip.
Well, why couldn't the bike show be during the day and the party be at night?
I don't know, man. I personally, I don't think that was a good decision when they did that.
For real.
But it's all good to me, man. I go to both anyway because I'm just right there. It's in my backyard, you know.
Where was Indian Larry's shop at?
He was on 14th Street in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Williamsburg.
Nice.
I believe he'd be considered Williamsburg. So yeah, and same with the Brooklyn Invitational, man. They're both in Brooklyn, right there.
That's all
same
like
block.
Super gentrified, right up there.
It's getting there, dude. It's fucking hipster heaven right now.
Well,
yeah.
Choppers, man.
It's it's changing big time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't understand how anybody fucking can afford to live up there.
Well, the pay scale is kind of to match, but honestly, I don't even think that's proportional anymore.
For real.
Nah, I think everyone's getting chased out of there except rich people, you know.
That's the same thing that's happening to Cali right now. It's like they keep passing all these bills. It makes it more expensive to live there. I think they just did a new proposition or whatever the fuck they call them out there where it literally raised gas prices to help pay for like roads and other shit like that.
That's crazy, man.
It's like...
You can't just keep slapping taxes on things and just expecting people to pay them, man.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where enough is enough, you know?
With as many people that live there, you would think that like there has to be enough just normal taxing to where they can afford to do things, unless because of this is going to be stupid coming from my mouth, but just because of how much it costs to live there, the people that do the jobs have to charge more. So it's this never-ending cycle of things costing more money.
It's a vicious cycle that can never feed itself.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work. But
like you literally cross over the border in fucking Kingsman, Arizona, and the same job is or the same like thing you would have to hire somebody to do is thousands less because of the cost of living.
Yeah.
But to lay road out there costs so much money because the workers got to get paid so much and this and that. It's just like almost like the whole argument of like fucking Republican and Democrat. The things it's like the middle ground is where it's at, man. Like you can get things done in the middle, but you can't get done on both ends. Yeah,
if you subscribe to like one hardcore end or the other, man, you're fucking crazy. Like it's just
you got to believe in outlandish shit on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I can't fix their problems. Nobody can. But I feel like California is going to end up being just a destination that people like fly to for vacations. It's going to be like our version of the Bahamas because no one will be able to afford to live there. Yeah. It'll just, I don't know. I just don't see how it's ever going to.
Yo, have you looked at some of the hourly rates at the shops there? It's like New York, man. Like fucking $100+ an hour.
Dude, we're for a like dealership here, it's between like $110 and $125 an hour for dealership work.
No shit. Yeah. I'm surprised it's that high down here.
Dude, it's the same. Like Texas is kind of getting California, where I've been telling everybody, so I probably should stop. But Texas is a good place to be for business, like when it comes to anything, because of the logistics of where we're at. It's cheap to ship or fly anywhere. So, like, it's about the same amount of money to fly to NorCal, $300 round trip, or close to New York or anywhere in the country. As long as it's a decent sized airport, you can get there pretty cheap. Same thing for shipping. Like I'm pretty much 3 days to every corner of the country.
Right.
You know what I mean? And shipping stuff. So that, like for paint work, when people ship us stuff, it's awesome because the shipping's not that much. Like a whole diner or whole FXR is like $120 one way. No shit. 3 days, And so like if it was across country, like if I was in the East Coast or the West Coast and I'd had customers from each one, that would be a $300 fucking thing in 4 or 5 days. Yeah,
dude. Like from New York to California, you're looking at a solid 7 days. Sometimes it's like 10 days to ship. Like standard shipping, depends on where the fuck this thing stops at.
Yeah,
man.
So so there's that aspect, and And, we've been talking a lot here, and I think we've already talked about the podcast, but, if Texas was to legalize the lane splitting or the filtering thing, it would catapult our economy for motorcycles here, because the people will start riding bikes as a commuter. That's what I think would happen. They would start commuting on bikes. It would alleviate some traffic, but it would help build, when people start forcing themselves to ride a bike to work every day, then that might be the thing that gets them like locked into the motorcycle lifestyle, which then will kind of coincide with like the economy of motorcyclists here. That's why Cali's so thick with all the shops and the PMs and the Arlenesses and all these big things, because there's such a motorcycle culture there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ours is pretty spread out here in Texas. Like, it's pretty big, but it's pretty spread out. So it's a plan. Like, you got a plan to do everything with everybody. You know?
Yeah.
Well, shit, man. You about...
Yeah, I don't care. We can keep going. I say we get off politics if we keep going.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk. I'm going to lose.
Yo, let me ask you this. Where do you see the next trend in motorcycles?
Man, that's a good question, man. I think that this performance purpose-built trend is going to... I think it's going to have a good stronghold. I think it's going to be around for a while. But I think that it's in such an infantile stage that people are probably doing this to their bikes right now because it looks popular. Okay. It's a popular thing, and they haven't quite experienced why it's popular yet. And I think that once people start doing that, it's going to like fuel more innovation in this thing. So like, we're going to see more Harleys with more high-tech performance stuff coming out over the next couple of years. And I think that, for as far as like trying to predict the big thing, the big dominant thing, like how the chopper was the dominant thing and then the big wheel bagger was the dominant thing. It's really hard to say right now. I think that people are just kind of there's so many smaller facets, and I think that it's kind of like our way of like finding something smaller and more tribal for us. So we kind of like go towards the FXR or the Dyna, and not so much like the big wheel bagger. You know what I mean? Like it's smaller communities.
You don't think you're going to see like a big monster coming up? Like,
man, it's hard. Like you would have to see. There would have to be something that's like boil. Like water had to be, kind of starting to boil. Like I don't see anything with that kind of fire.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what made chopper, in my opinion, what made the chopper thing popular and the big wheel bagger thing popular was the curb appeal, and a lot of this purpose-built vintage chopper, it's an acquired taste, right? If you look at like your bike or my bike, even it doesn't have that curb appeal that big wheel bagger just laid out on air.
Yeah.
Same thing with those old vintage or those old like billet choppers. Like those things had a curb appeal that spoke to people that didn't do this shit like we do. Right. So realistically, I've said this before, is I honestly think the biggest trend in motorcycles coming is the riders. Like the experiences people are going to have on bikes is going to be what's popular from here on out, as opposed to what bike they're riding. Right.
Like the vlogging, that kind, like people stirring up.
But just the experiences, man. Like people are building bikes right now that they can ride. Now, of course, there's going to be people that are going to build their bikes to ride, but then only pull it out for the picture and then put it back on the trailer. There's always going to be that, but I just don't know if there's anything major coming out. I mean, Harley's about to throw out those new bikes, which is going to be kind of like them directing their attention towards another market. So I think that, our stuff is going to kind of, I don't know. I think it's just going to be where we're at, just a slow pace. It's really interesting seeing Indian with that FTR,
Yeah.
Even though I think that they're completely dropping the ball on the other end of their company with trying to make bikes that look like Harleys. With the FTR, they just built a bike that wasn't available.
Right.
And now with the other ones, they're trying to build a bike that's already on the market. So I don't know, man. What do you think?
I don't know. I guess the adventure bike thing, but I guess that's kind of taken off already.
It's the experience on that thing, though.
Yeah,
they don't have the curb appeal, but when you experience it, you're like, "Damn, that's sick!" Because you know why that bag looks like that, or why the suspension is tall, why it has that big crash bar all over it.
Yeah, man.
Isn't it funny how Harleys took that same look, the crash bars, the fucking Pelican bags, and all this shit, and it's just like,
Yeah, man.
It's a weird thing that everybody's doing.
Yeah. It works though, man. I got Pelicans on my Dyna, man. It fucking works. They're great. And they fucking detach. You walk right into the hotel room.
That's good, yeah.
You run the thing through water. It's great.
How do you feel about the chopper scene? Do you think it's kind of lost its sizzle, or I mean, you just was on a big chopper thing, so.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I think the chopper scene kind of comes and goes, but that's always where my heart will be.
Yeah.
I just love being able to create. Like I said, I'd rather just be in the garage building bikes. Just I don't care if it's dead or not, man. Yeah. It'll be alive in my heart.
That's kind of where, like, you would ask me this question 10 years ago, and I'd totally been just whatever the bandwagon was. But like I said, after the last almost 7 years now of making all these great experiences on my bikes, for me now it is like that. I'm actually looking forward to when this shit's not popular so that I can get one.
Yeah.
You know? So that's kind of the thing. Like,
well, when it's not popular, the parts are a lot cheaper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, FXRs, dude, like they've always kind of had this, since I've been in the realm of them, they've had this fluctuation of price where they'll kind of peak out at a super like 10, 12, 15 grand for these bikes.
Yeah.
And they'll drop down to like 6 or 7. Now I've been seeing a lot of them in the $4,000 range, so I feel like it's down right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yo, also that page, FXR Bazaar on Instagram.
Nick Kenzo, yeah.
Oh my God, that page changed my life. Got me spending a lot of money.
Well, it's good that he wanted to make that page. He's actually supposed to be on the podcast during Giddy Up, but it was a shit show. But yeah, they made that page, and they just kind of like were keeping it real with doing, bringing what people actually want to see from those pages and stuff. And the big thing that's kind of like going around a lot was everybody talking about the raffle bikes and stuff. But it's like, I don't know. We've talked about it plenty of times, but I get it. Some people, people can't afford to drop 30 grand on a bike.
Right.
So that's maybe a way for people to get it.
It kind of works out for the seller and the buyer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought about raffling my Dyna, but I think it's a lot of work too. I don't think it's as easy as people think.
The other thing that's funny is that like all these people doing all this friends and family and fucking shit on PayPal, you get 30 grand sent to your PayPal. You're going to get a fucking 1099 at some point.
Oh yeah.
And 30 grand at self-employed tax is probably 9 grand. It's 20%. Depending on where you're at too. That's in Texas.
Yeah, I don't know about you. No friends or family are sending me 30 grand.
I don't know. It's a weird one, man. But I'm torn on it. I guess the thing that we've all decided was, if you're gonna raffle a bike off, it needs to be worth that money. Or if you're gonna do it, it needs to, like, if say your bike's worth 20 grand, but you're gonna do 25 grand worth of tickets, then give other shit away too, so that like not one person wins a bike. Maybe you take 1,000 of that and you give somebody $1,000 for their $100 ticket, or you give somebody, a helmet or a fucking this or a fucking that. You know what I mean? So that they get some, like, have 10 winners instead of one. Yeah. But I don't know. I had a question for you. I forgot it. Who do you ride with up in the New York area? What's like your scene up there, like, of people? Is it just kind of, you have a group, like kind of what you met last night with our back night, or?
I ride with just all kinds of people, man. Some people got choppers. Some people,
it ain't like segregated,
got some
where
baggers.
You can't like. Do people segregate up there by bikes, like kind of like what happens in other areas, where all the bagger guys are one place and the chopper guys one place, or is it kind of intermingling?
A little bit, man. But my friends are all over the map, so but I guess a little bit. Everyone's pretty friendly, I guess. I don't know how you describe that. I don't know. It's a weird scene up in New York, man.
I can't wait to go up there.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. We'll tell everybody your Instagram and shit.
I'm the crazy gentleman.
Crazy gentleman.
And I don't give a shit if you hit me up or not.
There you go. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming through, man. I'm glad you made Dallas a stop and the camp out. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Appreciate
Can't wait
that.
to do it again.
All righty. What's up, everyone? I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I really enjoyed talking to Rob. He was a very positive dude, and I really enjoyed just hearing him and talking to him. I talked to him. You heard him. Anyway, go check out our sponsors, man. Texas Performance MC. You can give them a follow on Instagram, as well as see them down in Cedar Park, Texas. TeamDreamRides.com if you want to see what John Jessup has in store for you guys. And don't forget to use Fast Life at checkout and save yourself 10% off whatever you buy off his website. BigBearPerformance.com. Check him out, 909-478-7788. Give Kevin a call. Let him talk to you. Let him, hear about that suspension. He'll sell. He sold me on it, so he's definitely going to sell you guys. Not that I'm better or anything, but just that felt like the great thing to say at that time. But anyway, yes, he does have some stuff in stock ready for you to go, ready to get sent out to you. So give him a call. Let him get you dialed in. And I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake, my dude Brian, painthuffer.com, keeping us flaky in this industry. So you guys have a good time, and don't forget to follow us at the Fast Life Garage, the Fast Life Podcast, and our website, fastlifegarage.com. And check out our Patreon, man. It really helps support this podcast and support the things that we're trying to do and bring to the table. So you guys have a great week. We're going to be back again very soon with whoever I decide to talk to next. So we'll see you guys later. Peace.